All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Patriots First and Goal, the first victory, whatever day it is of the week. Victory Wednesday, I think it is.
It's been so long.
So long since I've had a Victory Wednesday or Victory Tuesday or Victory Monday that I've kind of forgotten what it feels like. I am Alec Shane here breaking down past Jets, breaking down week 4 in the NFL, all things Patriots with my good buddy Rich Hill. Rich, did you survive the game? You okay over there?
Yeah, I mean, like it's been a long, troubling post-game experience so far. Usually I feel better after a Patriots victory, but I think my head's just like I feel a little distracted coming out of this week of games, and I know Bill Belichick touched on it too, but I just can't stop thinking about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Alec, like, what's your thought on this? Like, we have to start with this.
The only way the NFL can get more annoying is if they get Travis Kelce, Kevin Hart, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Chris Collinsworth to sing the Cars for Kids commercial. Like, that's the only way they can get more insufferable. Like, I like Travis Kelce, and I want to keep liking Travis Kelce. Like, stop it. Nobody cares. Just play football, for the love of God.
Just complete oversaturation of everything here. It's okay. I wish they kept leaning into the NFL scripted thing, because this is too on the nose. This feels too scripted. But you know what doesn't feel scripted, unless you kind of expect the Patriots to win 15 in a row against the New York Jets, is how the Patriots wound up beating the New York Jets 15-10, and how I still feel so blah about it. If you told me heading into the season that the Patriots would beat the Jets in week 3, I would say, cool, great. Alec, let's start off with first down. Patriots-Jets recap. How are you feeling coming out of this victory game for the Patriots?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, for first and goal, a win's a win, and there's such a massive difference between 1-2 and 0-3. Like, you really can't overstate how much of a difference it is. 0-3, your season's basically over at 0-3. So they got out of that particular hole, and they're not last in the AFC East anymore. Divisional win on the road, you always take it. But in our last podcast, I figured this would be the game. They turned it on. They showed up. They lit the Jets up. 30-13 was my prediction in this score. And it started out looking like that. They went up 3-0. They had the Pharaoh Brown run. It was 10-0. It looked great. And then everything kind of just stopped. You can blame the weather a little bit, I guess. You can blame the old line still figuring out a little bit, I guess, but I don't think the blame falls squarely enough to justify what we saw offensively for this team, particularly given that it was a Zach Wilson-led Jets team who just cannot figure out how to play professional football as a quarterback.
So bad.
I think it was like right before his very, very good, to his credit, that 87-yard TD drive to bring it within 3. I think the Patriots was like 319 yards to 83 yards. New England outgained the Jets, something along those lines. It was like a vast, vast difference in how. But the Patriots, they just can't put points on the boards. They can't finish drives. They keep letting teams linger around, and a better team would have probably taken the Patriots out there, but they didn't. They got the win, so I will take it. But a bit of a Pyrrhic victory for old Alec today, because it's not what I wanted to see in terms of kind of getting their season back on track.
Yeah, and I mean, like, definitely the rain plays a part of it. Defense, again, lights out. Regardless of who you're playing, Zach Wilson is clearly the least talented starting quarterback in the NFL. But to shut down that Jets offense to the degree that the Patriots defense did, that's great. Obviously, like, you want to do great against good teams. And after watching the Miami Dolphins rack up 70 against the Denver Broncos, you have to feel really good about how the caliber of this Patriots defense, just a really strong reinforcement week there. But yeah, that offense was just a little disappointing. I'm trying to reframe it in my head in that they got into position to score 5 times in the first half. Obviously, 2 missed field goals, including one that was right before the halftime that was always going to be difficult to make. It was a 56, 57 yarder, and it was, bad weather out there for the attempt. But they were in position to score. They had that big touchdown. This is a very good Jets defense. Everyone has to remember that this is, one of the top 3 defenses in the entire league. Very good outing. Very good outing in the first half, because you'd like to think you can continue, you can stack on it. And it felt like, to me, Alec, that after the Patriots got a field goal to open up the second half, they just stopped trying. They just really didn't try to put up points on the board. They felt satisfied with a 13-3 lead. They had 3 and outs over the course of it. They had an entire drive that was just Ezekiel Elliott running the ball and running down the clock. And like, it worked to some extent, but it really felt like once they had that 2-score lead, the Patriots felt like they could just run out the clock and call it a day.
I would love to say that's the case. I maybe you're right, and maybe that was the strategy. It was just gross. They wanted to get out of there with the win. Cool. And if that was the plan and they're planning on kind of turning it up offensively against the Cowboys next week, great. We'll talk about the Cowboys on 3rd and 4th down. But I don't know. You figured the Patriots have yet to win a game through kind of clutch play in the 4th quarter or close out a game. 10 points is not a very big lead. You bring it to 3, you force a 3 and out, you're right back in it. You figure if they'd gotten one more touchdown at some point, I'd be more inclined to agree with you there, Rich, because I honestly, it's funny. I was watching. I'm like, when they went up 3-0 on their first, I'm a soccer guy now, 3-0 on their first possession. I'm like, that's probably enough against Zach Wilson. I think 3-zip's going to be enough. And then they went up 10-0, and it's like, all right, no problem. This game's over. Yeah. But they just let the Jets hang around. And if they just gotten one more touchdown to close the game out, they had to rely on a Matt Judon safety, which was awesome. But you can't rely on the defense getting a safety to put you out of field goal range. So I just want to see them get a little more teeth, a little more toughness, and just finish a drive and put a game away or generate that 4th quarter comeback. In this case, is the former. They were up, had to get like a 9-point lead, game over. They just couldn't do it. They had so many possessions in the 3rd or the 4th quarter. They went 3 and out on their last 3 possessions, just trying to run the clock out. And it came down to a Hail Mary that was almost caught by Randall Cobb. Yep. Again, I don't want to poo-poo on a victory. It's the first one we're talking about. I want to get excited about it. There were some positives to talk about that, but yeah, you just want to see the team beat the team they're supposed to beat more handily than what I saw,
Yeah, totally. And I mean, like, I feel like this was the first week that the Patriots offense looked like how we kind of expect it to for the rest of the year. Like, the offensive line was who it's probably going to be. Trent Brown had himself a great game. I honestly came out of that game being like, this offensive line was not the problem. This is like, obviously Vidarian Lowe, lots of room for improvement. Onwenu, Cole Strange was taken out for Antonio Mafi, but like, this was probably the best offensive line we've seen so far, and it was against a tough team. The problem, you saw Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster play 3 out of 4 snaps, 76, 74% of the snaps. They just weren't producing. It's one of those extremely frustrating outings where it's just like, I'm not seeing the production from the starters. And I'm also not seeing if this little thing went differently, it would have worked. Like 3 targets for 19 yards for Parker is very bad. 3 targets for 5 yards for Smith-Schuster, even worse. I was talking about this as my X factor. Patriots were going to have a lot of room to operate in the middle of the field. I went to Pharaoh Brown, which was great. But the fact that the Patriots weren't able to get a lot going, and also it didn't look like they were close to doing it, is really frustrating. It wasn't like one bad pass and they missed a huge opportunity to have a big outing out there on the offense. It was just like, Jets were just sitting on the top of it. Receivers were not generating separation. I think the very clear top 3 wide receivers as it relates to separation, Kendrick Bourne, who was back in his wide receiver 3 role, Demario Douglas, and Boutte. Those are the 3 best receivers that the Patriots have at generating it. And I've been very underwhelmed by both Parker and Smith-Schuster so far.
Yeah, let's talk about Juju for a bit. Right now, he has 10 grabs for 66 yards through 3 games.
Yeah.
He was brought in to replace, for similar money, Jacoby Myers, who has significantly more than that and 2 touchdowns through 2 games. Because he's injured. He missed the week 2 from injury. Juju just isn't really getting it. And the Patriots seem to love running this 3rd and short play where they throw this wheel route to him and he falls over. That's kind of his claim to fame right now. You think it's just he's one of those receivers? The history's lousy with them. These guys that are good elsewhere, they just can't figure out the system for whatever reason. The Joey Galloways and Ocho Cincos and Doug Gabriels, or is something else going on here and he'll pick it up eventually?
I'm still holding out hope. This was the first game that he was really super integrated into it. I know that he's gotten snaps before, and he obviously has been getting targets, But this felt like the first time that he was hyper integrated as like the starting receiver. They've been easing him in. He had, 54% of the snaps in week 1, 59, about 60% of the snaps in week 2, and 74% this week. So they're getting him more and more involved. It's a matter of like, can he put it together? And I think that's like a frustrating comparison point is the fact that we know what we could have had with Jacoby Myers. There's still the hope that Juju Smith-Schuster can turn it to a different level. And I think, I forget who pointed this out. It might've been Taylor Kyles or Evan Lazar, but they're starting to. Like, obviously they haven't connected on things yet, but they're still learning what his strengths are. They're still learning, he hasn't been as active during the offseason as he could have been. And so they're still trying to identify what can he do that's really good. And what they're finding out that he can't do are those like Edelman routes. Like, that's just not the player that he is. He's not going to sit down there, do a whip route, go into the flat. Like, that's just not what his strengths are. What he is good at is going up the seam, driving against the defensive backs and trying to make those contested grabs and also get a little wiggle and get some separation deeper down the field. He's not going to be a first 3 steps kind of generate space that we're used to with Edelman. He's a different type of receiver. And so they have to figure out how can they draw up plays that allows him to capitalize on it. And with the offensive line finally looking good, maybe there's a world where those plays can develop. They simply just haven't had the opportunities. And that's why they've been doing those, passes 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage for the first 2.5 games of the year, is they just haven't trusted the offensive line to hold up for those plays to develop. So I'm not throwing in the towel yet on Juju Smith-Schuster. And in fact, I'm going to consider the offensive line's improvement one of the biggest bright spots coming out of this game, because this is not a bad Jets defensive front. And for the Patriots offensive line to look good, not great, but they look good, and for the running game to exist in a way that it didn't over the first couple of weeks, I'm pretty hopeful for the offense to continue to build off of itself.
Yeah, I guess one plus of Juju Smith-Schuster not being Jacoby Myers is one thing that Mac Jones did, maybe by necessity, maybe just by comfort level. He really zeroed in on Jacoby when he was here. And he's really throwing the ball around very well through 3 weeks. I think 9 receivers caught a pass, at least one pass against the Jets, which is really nice. The distribution is really phenomenal from Mac Jones. And he's still not the problem. I thought he had a fine game. I think the play calling was very suspect at times. The weather definitely a factor, as I said. But look, I think that kind of is what it is. And as long as they're kind of just trending in the right direction. And that's the thing I'm not really seeing yet. It's not like this steady improvement. Big test coming up against the Cowboys, who got upset pretty handily by the Cardinals, we'll talk about in a minute. But look, is what it is. I'm more concerned about against the Jets, and this is also kind of indicative of what we've seen through back going to the 2022, Rich, is just these weird decisions that Patriots are making on like 3rd and short or 2nd and long. Where it'll be, I remember there's one play, it was like 2nd and 16 due to like a false start or a penalty, and they ran a delayed draw to Ezekiel Elliott for -2 yards, and that killed the drive. It'll be 3rd and 1, and they run like a back shoulder fade to Devontae Parker for no yards, and they can't. I don't know why they're outthinking themselves. They're trying to do things that aren't really working, especially as they're still trying to figure themselves out offensively. Mm-hmm. So it's not just the way the offense is performing on the field. You got to kind of question some of the play calling. It's infinitely better, obviously, than it was last year, but there's still some remnants of just weird, unnecessary play calls or short-circuiting drives. And when drives are hard to come by in terms of points, you can't blow them up like that.
Snap into action this NFL season with Fanduel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Massachusetts. Hope is here. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. GamblingHelplineMA.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800-GAM-1234.
I think the one caveat I'll give is this. I'm holding up a 0 with my hands right now, and that's the number of turnovers that the Patriots had. And in a game that's so decided on the margins, in an area that the Patriots struggled so much over the first 2 weeks of the season, 2 turnovers in the first 2 games, 0 against a very good Jets team, where if they had 1 turnover, Jets win this. Like, even with a very bad Zach Wilson outing, this offense was not putting it together. Maybe they wouldn't have let their foot up off the gas in the second half, but it would be way more of a game than it actually felt if they turned the ball over. And so instead of forcing it on 3rd and 23, run it with Zeke, live to fight another down. I don't necessarily always agree with that kind of approach, but I can't argue against 0 turnovers in this type of a tough divisional game, which are always tough. But yeah, I mean, it's one where I would like to see a 60-minute outing from this offense. It's been so long, man. Like, it's like, I like, as you said, that Mac Jones is distributing it. I want to see a player take over a game in a way that we haven't seen in a very long time. And I want to see him do it in a couple of games. Like, that's what I'm looking for. We saw last year that, player would have a 100-yard game here and then never have it again for the rest of the year. And a few here, a few there, one for each player. But I want to see a player that can elevate this offense in a way that the Patriots truly need. They don't have a game changer on offense, and they're not putting the players in position to really look like a very good offense. Because for all of the positives, I like how the offensive line did. I like how they were distributing the ball. I like the no turnovers. This offense still ranks 27th in the league in points per drive. That is a bad thing. That is not good production, and it is something that has to change, or the Patriots are going to walk out against the Cowboys and they're going to end up at 1-3.
Very possible. The plus side, though, one thing they're doing very well that we haven't seen in a very long time is all 3 tight ends getting involved. Yeah. Especially now, obviously the Pharaoh Brown, the blown coverage, that was great, but just like a lot of 13 personnel, big jumbo packages, motioning the tight ends around. For the longest time, it's been trying to get those 2 tight end sets going, and they've never really been able to do it. I don't know if Gesicki, Hunter Henry, and Pharaoh Brown is this like magic combination, but it was nice to see the tight ends all getting involved and doing positive things, both the running and the passing game. Maybe they'll build on that as well. So I'll end on that positive note for offensively. Defensively, can we talk about Gonzalez for a second, Rich?
So good.
Christian Gonzalez is a freaking stud, man. He has had I'd love to go back and see like the toughest possible outing a rookie could have as a DB that Gonzalez has had. And he's got CD Lamb coming up next forward. There's no break for the kid, and he has completely shut down everybody he's gone up against. You're watching Tyreek Hill go for like $155 as the Dolphins put up 70 points. Everybody that he goes up against has been a fairly a non-factor for their respective offenses. And I am so excited about this kid. What a great draft pick.
Oh, totally. I mean, like, this has been a pretty strong draft class for the Patriots. Like, some due to necessity versus others, but Gonzalez is that lockdown corner. I wouldn't be surprised if he's Pro Bowl consideration by the end of the year. It's going to be a hard defensive rookie of the year campaign. Jalen Carter is just ruining worlds for the Philadelphia Eagles. And yeah, there's just like a lot of really talented defensive players in this rookie class, but Gonzalez is up there. For Bill Belichick to have a contract controlled shutdown corner, the best Patriots defenses, every single Patriots Super Bowl defense has an all-pro caliber cornerback on it. And if that's where Gonzalez goes by next year, especially on a controlled salary contract, this Patriots defense is going to be great for the next 4 years. Bill Belichick can cook with that, and then this gives them a lot of flexibility to invest a little bit more in their offense. Fingers crossed when next year the Patriots are expected to have some of the most cap space in the entire league. So I think Gonzalez has been such a great pickup for the Patriots.
For sure. Again, defense is solid. Matthew Judon obviously saved the game, possibly.
Peppers.
With the sack. Jabril Peppers, again, like they're Juwan Bentley's playing really well. Keon White, another phenomenal draft pick. Keon White's a guy, he's not really showing up on the stat sheet, but he is moving the pocket. He's penetrating the backfield. He's letting other guys pick up stats. He's another great pickup. And as long as the defense keeps playing this way, we've been saying this before, Rich Hill, so forgive me for repeating myself, but like as long as the defense keeps playing this way, they're going to give the offense the time they need to figure it out. So another big test coming up against Dallas. I'm psyched for the win. If we were sitting here at 0-3, we'd be talking about how to turn the page to 2024 already, honestly, because I think 3 teams since 1990 made the playoffs starting 0-3. We weren't going to do that this year with the AFC being what it is. So they're out of their basement in the AFC East. Tough test with the Cowboys coming up. Anything else you want to talk about for the Jets? I want to move on to week 4.
2 more players to shout out.
Yeah.
Christian Barmore,
Yeah.
looking great. Miles Bryant, want to give him his props. He has really stepped to the challenge with the 3 Joneses not being available. Bryant's been number 2. Great job. He's been doing a very, very good job. And I know he's been oft maligned over the past couple of years because of his very difficult role in the Patriots defense. Rising to the occasion, shutting down naysayers. He's been a great compliment to Gonzalez on the other side of the field. So kudos to both of them. But I'm ready to go. Move the page to week 4.
All right, let's do this. Second and goal, Rich, around the league, as always. Week 4, the season's already almost a quarter over. It always blows my mind how quickly the NFL season flies by. We're heading into October. We have Lions-Packers, a classic divisional matchup coming up on the Thursday night game. A lot of interesting matchups around the league, Rich. Any game in particular other than Patriots-Cowboys you're excited to see?
Dolphins-Bills.
Yeah.
That's got to be on everyone's calendar. 3-0 Dolphins on the road against the 2-1 Bills in Buffalo. That's going to be just an absolute barn of a game. No one has been really able to stop the Dolphins offense. Patriots slowed them down. No one's been able to stop them. If there's a team that can go toe to toe with them on offense, it's going to be the Bills. Very curious to see how that turns out just because of all the implications within the division.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game. That's for first place in the AFC East. And I feel bad for the NFL schedule makers. I imagine they had other things in mind when they scheduled the Jets and the Giants for the Sunday and Monday night game, Chiefs and Seahawks respectively. The Giants, I don't know why they have so many primetime games, but there's back-to-back. We're being exposed to the New York Giants, and I don't like it. I think the Chiefs are 16-point favorites over the Jets. Is there any way in hell, Rich, the Jets pull this upset off?
No, absolutely not. Even though we are just like a couple weeks removed from the Jets doing the exact same thing against the Bills. Like I was saying, there's not a chance. I mean, Bengals just got their first win of the season last week. So never say never. Well, we can say pretty close to never. I don't think this Jets team, if they put out an effort anywhere close to what they did against the Patriots, I don't see Zach Wilson doing anything to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. Not a chance. But I will say there's a few other games that I am looking forward to. 0-3 Vikings on the road against the 0-3 Panthers. I feel like Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, Cousins has been playing very good this year. They just happen to lose every game. Very interested to see if they can get their first win of the season. But the ultimate 0-3 Broncos on the road against the 0-3 Bears. I want the Bears to embarrass the Broncos. I want Sean Payton to follow up a 70-point allowed game with another goose egg. I want to see that team just get laughed out of the league because that would just be too funny. And also, there's a lot of good players on that Broncos team that, maybe the Patriots could benefit if they're now on the trading block.
I'll be so curious to see how the Broncos respond after getting 70 points hung up on them. I didn't know that was awful. Like, I feel like that's like Madden rookie mode when you're just like feeling mad at the world and you just want to beat up on some team kind of score. It's almost like the level of scoring has to be just so quick for that game to get so.
And they could have scored more. They chose not to score.
Yeah. And for me, that's even worse. Like when teams I'd rather lose like 5,000-0 and get your 100% all the time than have you just lay off the gas. But yeah, the Broncos, man, what an embarrassment that is. And it's how far the mighty have fallen. And I love when that happens. I don't like the Broncos at all. So I'm with you. I'm psyched for Ravens Browns. That should be a pretty good game. Some good divisional matchups here. The Ravens got their first loss overtime against the Colts. Once again, nothing makes sense in the NFL. The Browns are the Browns. They're always going to find a way to do it, but these two always play to their top. So it should be a good matchup there. But overall, man, some pretty solid divisional matchups in week 4 this week. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, totally. And just looking at the way that the AFC is shaking out, if Patriots take care of business against the Cowboys, they're right back in it. They are obviously, it's still early in the year, half a game back. They've had 2 of their hardest games already out of the way. If they can get over this Cowboys hump, they're in a pretty good position. Saints, not looking great. Raiders, not looking great. Obviously, they have the Bills and the Dolphins back-to-back, which are going to be very difficult, but then Commanders and Colts, and then the bye week, and then they got Giants, Chargers, Steelers. There's a very real chance that this Patriots team, if they can pull it together on offense, major caveat, if they can do that and they can get over this game against the Cowboys and a few other games go their way, Patriots could be back in a really good position in the conference.
100%. 2-2 end of September. Great place to be. Starting this Sunday, it's Cowboys. Good enough transition, Rich. Let's go 3rd and goal after this. All right, Rich, 3rd and goal. The Dallas Cowboys, if you'd asked this question this time last week, I'd have said there's no way the Patriots are winning this game. The Cowboys are one of the best teams in the NFL. They're scoring points at will. They just manhandle the Jets. Then they go to the Arizona Cardinals, and they hang up 16 and get beat up. And it wasn't even that close, 16-28. They had like a late field goal that made it. It was all Cardinals all the time. And I don't know if it was one of those fluke things where the Cowboys got overconfident. This happens to all good teams. They get upset. Patriots happen all the time to them. It's one of those things. Or maybe they're losing their confidence. They're going to come back roaring against the Patriots, and they're going to beat up. I really don't know. I know we're going to talk about both sides, but before we get to third and goal, just some overall impressions on the Cowboys and what you think about that game against the Cardinals.
Yeah. I mean, this is still a good team, right? Like, this is obviously, you never want to lose against the Joshua Dobbs-led Arizona Cardinals, but it's not a bad team. It's just that they've had a very bad inability to finish drives. And so, like, you had these players that still performed. Tony Pollard was still good. The offense was still solid. You know, CeeDee Lamb produced. But you look at all of their drives, field goals. And, you know, when your kicker has 10 field goals over the first 3 games, it's because you're not completing drives. And this is a Cowboys team where, you know, maybe the dam will break and they'll start to score. They rank 27th in the league in red zone. Other than that, they are a good offense. 3rd in the league in third down, 7th in points per drive, 5th in yards per drive. They are producing, they're protecting the football. This is going to be a hard game for the Patriots to win. But I feel like this is something that would fall right into Bill Belichick's specialty on how you would defend the Cowboys offense and also how you would defend this defense. But it's one where this is going to be another tough challenge. It's not like it's going to be an easy win. It's one where I would probably say Patriots have less than 50% chance of winning this one. You go look at that Eagles game, you look at that Dolphins game. This is right up there with that. This is one where Patriots have a chance to win it, but it's going to be a very tough game.
Well, speaking of, we'll start with the tough part first then, Rich. We'll do 3rd and goal, Patriots offense, Cowboys defense. Weakness against weakness against strength. If you had to gauge, are you more worried about the Cowboys offense or the defense going forward? And how, if you're Bill O'Brien, you're going up against this Cowboys defense, what's your game plan?
Yeah, I mean, so this is one where they're both good, right? Like, they rank 3rd in points allowed. They rank 5th in points scored. So this is a well-rounded team. They have been for a while. Dak Prescott, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. CeeDee Lamb, great young wide receiver. But you look at this defensive side of the ball, the biggest question mark that the Patriots have right now, I know that their offensive line did really well against the Jets. This is going to be another tough challenge. Micah Parsons, one of the best young pass rushers in the entire league. DeMarcus Lawrence, savvy veteran, but he's out there. He's still producing very well. They have a very strong defensive front. I would say that their weakness lies at that middle level, linebacker. So it's pretty similar to what we saw against the New York Jets. But you look outside at cornerback, Stephon Gilmore. He's been out there. Trevon Diggs is not going to be playing. He tore his ACL. He's likely out for the year. So the Patriots will have some sort of favorability just because, you know, that's just how personnel works. And they have some familiarity with Gilmore, who is not the player that he was in 2019. But if the Patriots offensive line cannot hold it against this Jets defensive or this Cowboys defensive front, they're going to be in for a very, 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 very long day. And honestly, my question comes to, like, will the Patriots, whether it's Vidarian Lowe, whoever it is, right tackle is the X factor. They've been rotating. They haven't been able to figure out who can be that good tackle. But this is a Cowboys team that will take advantage of whatever that matchup is, and the Patriots will either be exposed or, you know, have to put a tight end out there to help, because whatever caliber right tackle the Patriots have will be very overwhelmed against this Cowboys team.
Yeah, one thing I don't want to be talking about as a Patriots fan is Micah Parsons versus I have no idea who it's going to be. Not a good match in that respect. They like to move Micah Parsons all over the place. He's an absolute monster. I feel like he's kind of guy like you're walking down the street. You just kind of just like scooch over to make sure he has plenty of room. Really nice guy, but just such a beast on the field. And if they're going to have to match up against some like second string right tackle, could be some trouble. The real X factor for me, for a lot of reasons, Rich Hill, has got to be Ezekiel Elliott. It's his old team. Don't know if there's any bad blood. They ran him a lot against the Jets, more than Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know what the plan is. with that. He got more yards. Rondé had a couple of unlikely drops, uncharacteristic drops, which I wasn't happy about. I feel like this could be a good Zeke revenge game. I think it's a good game. You want to establish the run anyway, get the defense tired out. As you mentioned, they're kind of weaker on the middle linebacker, so maybe this is a kind of a delayed draw, get the pass rushers to come in and then send Zeke up the middle to the little linebackers to have him make a couple of moves, get the run game going, and finally get the offensive line some rhythm. But your point about not knowing who's going to be out there is a good one, because this could all go very south very quickly. If I'm having a running back as my X factor and they can't block anybody, could be a long day.
Yeah, no, totally. And I mean, it's one of those teams where what is the place that the Patriots can try to exploit? Malik Hooker, very good free safety. They have two downhill crashing linebackers, Damone Clark, and then you have Leighton Vander Esch, who, not the player, and since he's been dealing with a lot of injuries, but not bad. You have a couple players that just don't have the lateral ability. This would have been one of those games where if the Patriots had a James White, they would be throwing it to him the entire game. They don't have that. Is it going to be Ty Montgomery? They're not using him. So will that be Ezekiel Elliott? He just doesn't look like he has the burst out there. I think he's shown that he can be a savvy runner and pick up the yards that are there. He's not running away from anyone. And so I don't know who will be able to take advantage of it. I would like to see a big game out of Mike Gesicki. I think we've seen Hunter Henry produce in the red zone, but if we're looking at what the matchups are, where the Patriots might be able to produce, putting Gesicki out there against a depleted secondary, if they're losing their all-pro caliber cornerback out there, there's going to be some sort of shuffling that has to take place. Gesicki will get some favorable opportunities against the strong safety, against whomever the Cowboys are going to trot out there. And he could have room to run in the middle of the field. And if he gets some favorable matchups against the linebackers, these are not good coverage linebackers. Patriots could hopefully take advantage of it. Mac Jones has some level of comfortability throwing to his tight ends, more so than he has throwing to other players. I would love to see a big game out of Gesicki.
Yeah, and we talked about tight ends on second down, too. We're getting tight ends involved, a lot of jumbo packages, 13 personnel. Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, the move tight end, the wide receiver versus kind of the bigger chip block guy. It could be a big game for the tight ends. Some prop bets for you, Rich, offensively. Will all three tight ends register a catch against the Cowboys?
I would love to see it. I'll say yes. I don't know if it'll be a big day or anything like that, but the way that Mac Jones has been distributing the ball was he had 7 players catching in week 1, 8 in week 2, and 9 in week 3. Let's throw another play in there. 10 for week 4. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Pharaoh Brown earned more time out there. I was actually very impressed, not just at his ability to catch the ball, which he, got his opportunities. He made the most of them. He was also a very good blocker out there. He was showing that he could support whichever tackle he was lined up next to. Usually it was Vidarian Lowe. Patriots will need that. If he puts in some chip blocks against Micah Parsons out there and then will leak out into the flat, I could see him getting his easy touches there. I feel like Patriots will just have plays drawn up for Henry and Gesicki. So I'll just say, yeah, I think all three will.
And you think 10 players catch a pass, kind of going up and like it. I like it.
Why not? That's how stats work, right?
Yeah. As long as it's not Cole Strange again. I don't want to have that happen. How about this, Rich? 2 turnovers for the offense in any capacity. 1 fumble, 1 pick, 2 fumbles, 2 picks, whatever it is. 2 total turnovers. Over.
I'll go the under. I think the most un-Belichickian performance of the Patriots from the first couple weeks of the season has been their looseness with the football. Obviously, you don't want Demario Douglas fumbling the ball out there. Devontae Parker should have fought for the ball more in week 2. Patriots are going to be very, very, very intentional about protecting the ball, especially against a team like the Cowboys, where they're likely going to try and reduce the number of drives due to the Cowboys' ability to score on offense. And so I'd see the Patriots doing a very big ball control kind of a game, trying not to be loose with it. They'll definitely take some shots down the field. They've shown a willingness and appetite to do that, even if they haven't been connecting. I think that they will keep doing it. I would love to, what we talked about earlier, see Juju Smith-Schuster get a big play deep down the field, have Parker show up. I want to see Kendrick Bourne have more involvement in that offense. And if they're able to have those big plays out there, they'll be able to keep up with this Cowboys team, but we just haven't seen it to this point yet. So there's no way to guarantee it.
Speaking of keeping up with the Cowboys team, Rich, the over-under 4 total offensive touchdowns to the Patriots. 28 points.
I'm going the under. I have no faith in it. Maybe they'll get a couple field goals. I could see them getting 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals, but 4 touchdowns feels like a lot. Have the Patriots had 4 touchdowns this year?
No, I mean maybe exactly 4 touchdowns, but they seem to they're good for definitely good for 1 a game. We can always mark up 1 touchdown a game. Maybe we'll get a pick 6. We're due for one of those, maybe a punt return. But yeah, I think I'm with you on the under there. I don't see them. Maybe Zeke runs one in and Mac throws for 1, and that's probably where the offensive touchdowns probably stop. The plus side though, Rich Hill, let's go to 4th and goal. The Patriots defense against the Cowboys offense. The way this defense is playing, 2 touchdowns might be enough. 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals might be enough to win it against this Cowboys offense. This is a very good team. Dak is a very good quarterback. He's very mobile. He can extend the play with his legs. The Pats have been burned in the past with mobile quarterbacks. There's all these times they get all excited. Here comes a sack. And then all of a sudden, whoever it is, they evade and they rush for a first down. They can run the ball well. They've got a good receiver in CeeDee Lamb. They're a complete offense. If you're Steve Belichick, what's your game plan? What's the thing you're taking away the way they like to do? What's the number 1 offensive weapon they're taking away? They shut the CeeDee Lamb down. They're letting Tris Gonzalez keep doing what he's doing, going on an island against CeeDee Lamb, try and stop the run, put it in Dak's hands. What's your strategy to kind of cancel out the Cowboys' most effective weapons?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's 2 weapons in this Cowboys offense. There's 2 players that are really carrying them, Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb. Everyone else kind of just there. Rico Dowdle has been providing some sort of a spell for Tony Pollard if they need someone else coming out there. Michael Gallup has some historical ability, but he's averaging, 35 yards a game. Jake Ferguson, 23 yards at tight end. Like, there's not a lot of other players out there. If I'm the Patriots, I'm saying we're going to shut down them both. I know Bill Belichick always chooses just from a numbers game perspective, choose 1 player and limit them. I'd say the Patriots should have about 5 players on the line of scrimmage regularly. Put Gonzalez on CeeDee Lamb with safety help. Like, whether it's Kyle Duggar over the top, whatever it is, got to mix it up. Dak Prescott's going to make the right play regularly, so you have to throw him curveballs every now and then. But Gonzalez has seemed to be up to the challenge. I want to put him out there. I want to give him the opportunity to make plays, get him the opportunity with some support over the top to take some risks and potentially force some turnovers, because Lamb is going to get targets. And Gonzalez has the ability to force turnovers if he gets his hands on it, but he has to be able to take healthy risks, and they need some safety help over the top for that to happen. Other one, Tony Pollard, just standard stop the run kind of a thing. Like, he has some ability as a receiver out there, not a big one. Obviously, he's just gotten 16 yards per game as a receiver out there, but they target him enough that you can't let him break free. He's an all-around back like that, where he just needs 1 big play and he'll take it away. But don't let them get going on the ground and make sure that Lamb is covered over the top. And I feel like they should be pretty okay. And I feel like the Patriots, injuries notwithstanding, I feel like they have the personnel to be able to pull that off.
I think they do. That's why I'm going to go with Jabril Peppers as my X factor. I think he's really playing well. I almost went with Mapu as my X factor, Monte Mapu. I think he's kind of the same build in terms of that linebacker hybrid guy that has to spy the quarterback, the running back running out of the flat, crash down on the running plays. You're going to need some really strong games out of your Adrian Phillip, your Julius Jabril Peppers, your Kyle Duggars. That's going to be the kind of X factor, that kind of grouping, the linebacker safety guys. They really can't give up 6 yards on first down. I don't think this defense can handle that forever. So they got to contain the run. And I would love to be in a situation where Dak starts to air it out. I think the secondary is strong enough, even with Miles Bryant as a CB2 right now. Hopefully Jonathan Jones comes back. It'll be a huge boom for the team.
Yeah.
I think all signs point to him. He probably could have played last week if he had to, but it was the Jets. Figured to give him 1 more week to rest. I think it was a smart play. I think he'll be out there. Gonzalez and Jonathan Jones, Miles Bryant. It's a good secondary. I think they can do really good things. That Dak's got to throw the ball a lot. So hopefully Jabril Peppers and those kind of safety linebacker guys shut down the run and force some calls through the air.
I like that. I mean, Peppers has been playing extremely well this year. Very excited to see how he continues to build and evolve during his time with the Patriots. He's been a great development for the team. And I like that. I'm going to stay with the same position. I think Kyle Duggar is going to be my X factor. I'm not going to say that he's been quiet this year. His role has changed. I think Peppers has assumed Duggar's old role as being the center point of that defense, and Duggar has assumed a lot of the roles that Devin McCourty had over the top. And we just trusted Devin McCourty was doing his job because the defense was doing well and we did not hear Devin McCourty's name. And that meant that they weren't targeting him. They weren't giving up big plays. And I feel like that's where we are with Kyle Duggar, is that we're not hearing him out there because he's doing his job to deter opposing teams from producing. He's in the right position. He's making plays when it comes towards him. He's obviously not, forcing game-changing plays, but that's where I would like to see it. The Patriots are going to get tested with CeeDee Lamb. if Duggar is able to either allow Gonzalez to force a turnover or forces a turnover on his own, that's going to be a big one. This is going to be a game where I feel like whoever wins the turnover battle will win this game. But I think that there will also be that trickle-down effect that if Duggar has a good game and if he is able to lock out CeeDee Lamb, that creates better opportunities for the Patriots across the board. If Lamb's not going to be a major target, Cowboys are going to be playing with their hand behind their back.
To that end, Chill, some defensive prop bets for you. I had two turnovers to the Patriots offense. You took the under. Let's do 2 turnovers to the Patriots defense. They getting 2?
Under. I'd think that this is going to be a game where whoever wins the turnover battle will have a 1-0 edge. Cowboys have just 1 turnover this entire year. They are very good at protecting the ball.
They are. To that end, prop bet number 2, the Patriots defense. Dak Prescott escapes 3 potential sacks and generates 3 first downs on 3rd down. Over under.
Ooh, I hate that one. I'm going to go with the over on that one. I hate it though. I'm going to be so frustrated, but I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like that's just the type of player he is out there where he makes magic happen, and he's going to either do it with his legs on just a play that he extends. He's going to find a tight end or tight end 3 or something like that and just move the chains. And I'm going to be livid, but it's I'm going to take the over on that.
Yeah, you're probably right. This prop bet only counts if Christian Gonzalez is on CeeDee Lamb in coverage. Otherwise, it completely nullifies itself. But CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to say 3 catches for 30 yards. Over under.
I'm going to go over on that, but I think that's just because I think Dak Prescott is going to challenge him. And I think that the Cowboys will need Lamb to have a big day in order to keep up. And so they're going to keep trying to feed him, and he's going to win his share. He's too good of a player to completely shut down. If Gonzalez is able to hold him to, 6 catches for 60 yards, that's a win. That is a winning performance from Gonzalez. And so if he's able to do that, Patriots will be in a good position to win. I think he's up to that challenge, with the other caveat being they need Jonathan Jones. I think Miles Bryant has been doing pretty well, but Brandon Cooks out there for the Cowboys out there, Michael Gallup. They need to have some other players out there, and having Miles Bryant trying to cover whether it's Gallup or Cooks does not make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel like the Patriots will need to have a little bit of speed out there. I feel like Jonathan Jones would be the ideal defensive back to go out there and cover Brandon Cooks. So I'm hopeful that he'll be out there, but my entire defensive plan is hinging on the fact that Jonathan Jones will be able to play.
I can't believe Brandon Cooks is only 30 years old.
Yeah, right?
I feel like he's been in the league for like 15 years. He got drafted at age 14. He's just good for him. I miss Brandon Cooks. He was a good Patriot. All right, Rich, those are my prop bets. I don't have anything else to talk about Cowboys, Patriots, but otherwise get the predictions.
Let's go to predictions.
All right, let's do this. Get my notebook out here. I was way off in my prediction of 30-13 Patriots. You were 20-13 Patriots. You weren't as far off as me, so you get the nod for this one as well. That means you get first pick. Patriots at Cowboys. Who you got, buddy?
I'm going to go with the Patriots here. Going to come right out and say it. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's in Dallas, so it's going to be a hard one. Patriots offense has not shown me anything to this point in time, and maybe these are my homer goggles going on, but I'm watching this Cowboys team, and I feel like the Patriots defense is up to the challenge. I feel like this will be another relatively low-scoring game. I think the Patriots win this one something like 20-17. They will likely have to get the benefit of a special teams something, whether it's a block, whether it's a good return. Patriots have to win on special teams in order to win this, set up Mac Jones with favorable field position. But I think that this offensive line will finally find its groove. We'll see Nwainu return to his prior form. We'll see Andrews and Trent Brown looking good out there. And whoever plays left guard and right tackle will not be as big of a liability. I think the Patriots will not necessarily like inspire just massive amounts of confidence in offense, but they'll do just enough. The defense will do plenty to carry their weight. Special teams will win the day on their end, and Patriots will win this one 2017 in a nail biter.
All right, 2017 Patriots, got it. I'd love to join you picking the Patriots, buddy, but I just can't do it. I'm taking the Cowboys on this one. Excuse me. I just don't be able to keep up. Yeah, it's funny because, my wife's a Cowboys fan. My father-in-law's a Cowboys fan, so I'm sure I'll be hearing it when the Cowboys win. They just don't Patriots can't really hang with the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys get up a couple scores. The Patriots will probably come back, make a game of it. They'll probably have 2 chances to win it late, and they won't be able to do it as the defense continues to figure out Dallas. I think Dallas maybe gets up early. The Patriots come back. The defense figures out Dak, and then they get the ball to Mac Jones, and he goes 3 and out. And then the defense makes another stop. They give it to Mac Jones, and he drives down to like the 20, and then the game ends. And the Cowboys win this one 24-20 on yet another failed fourth quarter comeback attempt.
Oh, I'm going to be so sad if that happens. I'm holding out hope for a big Zeke game. I'm holding out hope for Ramondre Stevenson finally, performing to the level that we know he is able to once he's behind a good offensive line. You look at how the Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. A lot of it due to special teams. Like Matt Prater kicked a 62-yarder right before the half. Like he was just kicking as far as he could out there. But there were some big plays out there that the Cardinals were able to put together. Michael Wilson, a 69-yard catch. James Conner had a big day on the ground. I think that the Patriots can emulate that strategy, do a little bit better on defense than the Cardinals did, and they should hopefully be able to win that game.
Here's hoping, buddy. I don't know. Again, 2-2 would be such a huge way to close out this first 4 weeks. As you mentioned earlier, there's some very, very winnable games coming down the stretch. So obviously 2-2 and 1-3 are very different. Not as different as 1-2 and 0-3. They can come out a 1-3, but winnable games down the stretch. And this is a winnable game. I don't think it's like a gimme that Dallas is going to win this one. This is a winnable game, but they have to play a complete game and not shoot themselves in the foot with poor penalties, stupid mistakes, dumb turnovers, and have to sustain some drives, give the defense time to rest and finish off. I love field goals. They're great, but I like touchdowns better, and I want to see more touchdowns.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a matter of time. I feel like I believe too much in this offense to continue to be tricked, right? If it hasn't worked, it has to work now, and now is the time. But we'll be breaking down Patriots Cowboys next week. Alec, do you have any final thoughts on week 4 of the NFL season?
Happy spooky season to you and to all Patriots Nation. Let's kick it off with a win.
All right. Well, until next time, Alec, you have a good one.
See you, buddy.
Later.
Ever wish you could navigate the betting field with the confidence of a pro? Enter Odds Are. They're not a sports book, but they're the sports betting advisor you've always needed. It's like having a playbook for smarter bets right in your pocket. I've been absolutely loving the experience, and I think you will too. Especially since Patriots Press Pass listeners get a 30-day free trial. Elevate your game day and join the smart betting revolution. Go get it at oddsr.com/presspass. That's oddsr.com/presspass.